Hi and welcome to my channel. My name's Anne, the Max Colour Stitcher. Today is Sunday, the 31st of August 2025, and I'm back for my weekly cross stitch update. It's actually been 2 weeks since I made a video. I was, as I said in my channel, I was actually quite sick last week and I wasn't able to make a video. And unfortunately it actually also affected my stitching. Generally when I'm sick, I'm still able to stitch, and for the first couple of days I did stitch a little bit, but then my daughter gave me the flu. She was actually quite sick as well, so we both had a fair bit of time off work and school, but it somehow affected my ears and my sinuses, so it made me really dizzy and nauseous, and every time I turned my head, I felt really ill. And I don't know if it was the having to use magnification or just turning my head between the fabric and pattern keeper, but I wasn't able to stitch for about 4 days. So unfortunately it has affected my stitching. Regular viewers to my channel would know I normally get about 6,000 stitches a week, or at least that's what I aim for. But I only managed to get 7,000 stitches over the fortnight. So basically, in a way, lost a whole week of stitching, which is very sad, especially since, I had so much time off work. And generally when I have time off work, I get to do more stitching, but unfortunately that didn't happen this time. But I'm glad that I did get as much as I did, and you can probably hear in my voice, my sinuses are still not 100%. I'm a bit, my voice is a bit funny still. But back to stitching, not regularly, so hopefully I'll get my regular stitching in for the next week, and then hopefully by next Sunday I'll be 100% better. Looking forward to that. So I worked on 9 whips and 1 new start. So it was my birthday last Saturday. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. I actually was able to stitch on my birthday a little bit, so I did have my birthday start that I had previously mentioned, and then I stitched on it until I got 1,000 stitches. So let's get into the stitching. For those who are new to the channel, I am a full coverage stitcher, and most of my projects are on 22 count 1/1 full cross, using DMC and Stitching Mummy's typewriter method, which is stitching, picking a symbol in a 10x10 block, top to bottom, left to right. But I am stitching currently 2 rows across. I have a Sunday piece, and then for my other 15 whips, now 16 with the new one, they're on a decision wheel, and I spin every day. Well, not every day. I do 500 stitches on a whip, and then I spin for a new one. So I generally do spin at least, I do 2 whips a day, sometimes 3, depending on what day it is, and how many stitches I get done. So as usual, my Sunday whip is Dragon Race Into the Night. Now I didn't stitch last Sunday at all because I felt so ill, but I still did, I still wanted it, since it's my focus whip, I still did 1,000 stitches on it. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday this week I did them rather than on the Sunday, just so I keep up with my 1,000 stitches a week on that one. So this is the mock-up. It's Dragon Race Into the Night. It is Max Colour, artwork by Rose Khan, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's now retired from there and is charted by Pain Free Crafts. I'm currently working in the buildings in the middle here. So last time I had just stitched the roof of these 2 buildings here. So I made my way across here, stitched this wing, and then over into those buildings as well. So next time I will be pretty much just stitching water and finishing off the building. So 2,000 stitches on this one, since it's 2 weeks since I last filmed. And you can see here I made quite a bit of progress compared to last time. So yeah, stitched in all of these buildings here. The colours went down into here. I do try to stitch my colours out. Not so much on this one because, well, scroll frames in general, these are Omnics. I have very narrow sidebars because my arms aren't that long and I can't reach under very far, so I can't stitch very far down. I'll run into the edge of where it's rolled up, so I will park. And if I'm concerned about my counting, I will park. And also I do all my fabrics ungridded, and I grid myself using a chalk pencil, so if I just can't be bothered counting to mark some more boxes, then I'll park as well. You can see there I've marked a little bit here. It does, because it's only chalk, it does rub off and fade away, so I don't grid very far in advance because by the time I get to it, it'll be gone anyway. So that's a bit of a waste. Anyway, show you the whole thing. This now has a total of 246,000 stitches out of 417,000. It's gone from 58.51 to 58.99%. So still a little way to go to get to the edge of that row. I'm doing 2 rows, so yeah, it does take a little bit longer. Can't wait till I get to 60%. I feel like that's going to be a really, really big milestone. So as I mentioned in my last Flosstube, I had 3 whips left on my decision wheel before I reset it. So I did those ones. Not sure why I have to put the pin number back in here. This one my daughter chose for herself. She's got red hair, so it reminded her of herself and her cat Sophie, which I have shown on the channel. So this is Cradled by Waves Filled with Love and Wonder. It is artwork by World of Love Hearts, Adrian G. Eyre, charted by Stitchessewbeautiful. I'm working in, I don't know why this is working in the top along here, so not much to see, still in the early stages. So I got 500 stitches in on this one. Now has a total of 2,500 stitches out of 160,000 stitches. It's gone from 1.25 to 1.56%. This one's actually a really easy stitch. I am not having to park at all, and generally I can stitch out my whole thread. No ninja stitches or anything so far, so yeah, it's been a really fun stitch, that one. Really easy. One of the easiest, I would say, that I have. So my next spin was Snail Friends. This is Max Color, artwork by Kayomi Harai, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Working in the background here next to the cat's face. I was hoping to get to the cat's face, but with 500 stitches now instead of 1,000 like I used to do, it definitely takes a lot longer to get where I need to be, and everything is going on power save mode on me today. I don't know why. So yeah, I got 500 stitches done. It now has a total of 30,500. Total stitches in the project is 94,150. It's gone from 31.86 to 32.4%. So yeah, pretty small piece. That's the full size of the fabric compared to Dragon Race. It's definitely a lot smaller. Alright, so the last whip on my decision wheel before I reset it. Actually, I'm getting so many charts in Pattern Keeper now. It's hard to find, or getting harder. So this is Catnap. It is max colour, artwork by Jeff Haynie, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is relatively new start, still working at the top row. So working in this green cushion there. And there's 500 stitches done on that one. So yeah, the colours did go down on this one, so I did park. Haven't had to really park before that. So this now has a total of 5,500 stitches out of 179,000 in total, so not actually that big for a regular size HAED. It's gone from 2.79 to 3.07%. That one's a nice easy one too. And I actually stitched that one this week using Cross Stitch Saga. I'll talk about that at the end because I know there'll be people who won't be interested in that. I'll tell you my experience, thoughts. So I reset my wheel, and the next one I spun, just gonna take power saving off. That will hopefully make things a bit better. Okay, sorry, the next one I spun is Kitten Caboodle. This is artwork by Simonetta Ubbiali, charted by Charting Creations. So I'm working in the roses here at the top there. So 500 stitches in on this one. And you can see I basically filled in this pink flower there. I'm not 100% sure exactly. I think I might have done some green as well. Feels like a while since I did this one, since it was last week. And since I've been sick, I think I've lost some of my memory on what I was doing last week. So this now has a total of 27,000 stitches, and it's gone from, out of 163,540, it's gone from 16.2 to 16.51%. So yeah, nearly finished, well, sort of that row, just got this white rose to work on, and then back over to this dark pink rose. And then back to the other side. It's quite a narrow one, so it's actually quite fun to have the rows finished quicker. So the next one I spun, and this is one I chose in memory of my mum because she likes sewing and flowers. This is Elegant Floral Sewing Kit. It is artwork by Liededrom, charted by Stitchessewbeautiful. So this, I'm not stitching the background on this. This is actually basically two colours, B5200 and another one. I decided not to stitch that because it didn't seem like it needed it or it was worthwhile. So the percentages on this one aren't going to be right. I haven't readjusted for that. I haven't marked them off just in case I change my mind, but I've been working on this flower here. So I thought would finish that flower this time. I didn't. I'm hoping next time I pick this up I'll finish the flower, and then just this little bit left on those two rows, and then I'll start back over the other side. So this is 500 stitches in on this one. So yeah, it's actually quite a big flower. So because this has got now, I think I've worked on that 3 times, just that flower, so it's got like 1,500 stitches in it. So I still have the other side here to finish, and then a little bit over here for this row. Oh, where is it? So this now has a total of 6,000 stitches out of 160,000 stitches in total, and that's with the background, so I won't be stitching that many. And it's gone from 3.44 to 3.75%. See, I think it's working well without the background. Don't think you can really notice a difference. It does, it's a little bit tricky trying to work out what the background is and what not. But the background is mostly 2 colours, so it's not that hard, difficult. But there is a bit that I mentioned in a previous video, which I think is supposed to be background, and I stitched anyway. So we'll see. Probably won't see it once the whole thing's done. And then I go on to my new start that I did for my birthday. Now this, I thought, it's funny because I've mentioned before in the sewing kit whip that, you know, I was struggling with the background. So then what do? I decided to pick another one, and then I decided not to do the background on that one either. So, and this one turned out to be quite a bit harder to work out what the background is and what's not the background. There's a little 5 or 6 different colors. So I'm having to keep looking at the mock-up and pattern keeper, the actual chart, to see what's background and what's not. So yeah, it actually took me quite a bit of time to do this one, more so than if I didn't have to keep looking. But this one here, it's Scruffy Muffin. Isn't she a cutie? This is artwork by Fantasy Digitals, and it's charted by Cross Stitch Studio. So yeah, I picked hand-dyed fabric from Paddock Lane Designs, and I was just working in this cat's ear. So you can see here, I'm not stitching all of this peachy colors, I guess you'd call it, through the fur, the strands of fur. So I got 1,000 stitches on this one, and this one is on a 25 count. It is called Autumn Leaves. And there's my first 1,000 stitches. So yeah, you can see I've tried to not stitch anything around those strands of fur. I was stitching 2 rows across like I normally did, but this bit here is a lot higher than the rest of it, so I decided to actually go down, and I think similar to the sewing kit, I'm doing 3 at a time now. So I'll fill in this ear bit here because it's so sparse over here. I was barely picking up any stitches. But that's my start on that one. So this is 1,000 stitches out of a total of 202,500, and it's 0.49%. I was concerned about the 25 count. For those regular watchers of my channel know that I only started using 25 count the other day, and I actually stitched on that one this week as well. But this one was actually really easy to stitch on, I think, because it wasn't as confetti heavy as the other one. So I was really struggling to get my needle in the other one, but this one was actually really, really quite smooth and easy. So yes, very happy with my little start there. I haven't put it on my wheel yet. I'll finish up my current wheel rotation, and then I'll put it on my wheel. Okay, so the next one I spun is Symphony of the Sovereigns. This is artwork by Bill and Linda Tiepelman. It is max color, charted by Kiwi Fly and Stitch Design. I'm over here in these blue swirls, making my way across to that tiger. So there's the 500 stitches in, which is basically just this blue, and then I did get a bit of black here and a bit of black there as well. So yeah, this is the tiger coming in here. That'll be its ear. So that's, this now has a total of 29,000 stitches out of 250,000 stitches. It's gone from 11.4 to 11.6%. Really like how that looks on camera. It actually looks really good. Really happy with that. All right, 2 more I worked on this week, or fortnight I should say. The next one is, clicked into it. This one is Waters of Nirvana. It is max color, artwork by Yuri Khrushch, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. A couple of Flosstubers have just started this one, which is Stitches with Ebony, I think is what her channel name is. But they're cropping it. I started right at the top, so I'm still in the sky. So my 500 stitches was just sky, but next time I should get into some colours from the trees. So I'm not sure if you can really see. Well, I was about here and I worked my way across there. Boring, but yeah, glad I only had to do 500 on this one. And I'll slowly make my way across. This is actually my biggest whip. It has a total of 422,500 stitches. I've now stitched 13,000 in total, and it's gone from 2.96 to 3.08%. And my last whip was my newest one before my birthday start. It is Autumn's Fire, artwork by Claudia McKinney, charted by Charting Creations. This one reminded me of my daughter too, because she has red hair. But I'm just working in the leaves here in the corner. So this one's very, very confetti heavy. And this is the one that is done on 25 count. I originally started with gridded and pre-gridded, and I hated it. So I got ungridded. But it's still a struggle. It's still quite lumpy. Not as lumpy as it was, but still quite lumpy. I'm not really sure how I can stitch it so it's less lumpy. Like all of that black here is all just block stitching, but because I'd already stitched all these other colours, it was still really hard to get my needle through. And I'm using the smallest needle basically I could find, which is a pony needle, 28, size 28. But yeah, it's still really thick. Still really thick. Hoping it gets better. Still yeah, still don't know if I want to continue stitching on 25 count. But then, you know, the 25 count, with my new start, the hand dyed fabric, it's a breeze. So I know it's not the 25 count per se. I know it's the chart. So maybe I just can't pick artwork that's heavy confetti on 25 count. Maybe I have to stitch those ones on 22, my favourite. But anyway, I got 500 stitches on this one. It now has a total of 2,000 stitches out of 228,690, and it's gone from 0.66 to 0.87%. So yeah, not even 1%, and I'm already, do I restart? It'll be the third restart, and I really don't like restarting, but yeah. Sometimes you have to, don't you? Okay, so that's all the stitching for this fortnight. So I'll be stitching on Dragon Race today, and then I'll spinning my wheel for my 500 stitches on all my other whips left on my wheel. So if that's all you've come to listen to, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week. For those who are interested, so in Saga, that is. So I've been watching, I think it's Slow Stitching with Yogi. It's Yogi anyway, and Siski Stitches, and they have both been, they do quite a few, well, Yogi does a stitch with me every day, I think, and Siski's done quite a few stitch with me's as well, and they've done a couple of tutorial videos as well on using Cross Stitch Saga. So I decided I would give it a go. You never know if you're going to like something unless you give it a try, I think. I've never used Markup RXP. I've only ever used Pattern Keeper before. So I downloaded Cross Stitch Paradise, which is the app that you need to convert a PDF to Saga file extension thing. Sorry, words are just still not very good. So Paradise is on the App Store in, I think, yeah, Google App Store, and Paradise Saga you have to get from their website. A link to that is in either Slow Stitch with Yogi Facebook group or there's another Facebook group for Saga that what's her name? Needlebug has set up. Anyway, so I got it converted with the help of Siski, and then I got it into Paradise. Now, the reason, well, the what I thought would be really good, or features I would like, I didn't end up, it weren't really for me, but I actually do like them, but then other things made it so I didn't really like it. So pros, well, I really like the fact that you can set a goal. So you can put a goal in 100 stitches, 200 stitches, whatever, and once you've reached that goal, it comes up on the screen to say, yeah, you've done 100 stitches, 200 stitches. So that's really good because I play a lot of Facebook cross-stitch games, and I have to count my stitches for those games. So instead of having to continually look at Pattern Keeper and see how many stitches I've done, you know, that actually gives me the goal. So that's really good. And then the other thing as well is it has a automatic mark off, well, not mark off, but it automatically selects the next color for you. So you can set it up to automatically select the colors from least amount of stitches to most amount of stitches to least, or in DMC color order. So what you can do is you put a box around where you want to stitch. So say you wanted to stitch a page, or even just, you know, two 10 by 10 blocks, and then it'll it'll tell you which colours are in that whichever box you chose, and then you can stitch, as I said before, lowest number of stitches. So say I had, I'd selected a block of, say, 200 stitches, so 2 10 by 10 blocks. There might be 10 colours that got 1 stitch each, so it'll do those, and then if you mark off that stitch, then it'll jump to the next one for you, so you're not having to continually choose your next stitch. So I did think, oh, well, that sounds good, I'd like to be able to stitch the lowest to the most. That sounded like quite fun, but then when you actually start stitching, I really like confetti, and I don't like block stitching, but stitching, so say I know I have, say, 10 colours with 1 stitch each. Knowing I am stitching only 1 stitch each when I have to put the colour away, and I'm doing that 10 times in a row, I'm like, no, I like a break between, picking a colour that has, say, 10 stitches and then picking a colour that says 1 or 2. And then you got the whole, and then the thing is, though, like it only picks it in whatever block you chose. So say, for example, you chose a 10 by 20 block and then you got 1 stitch outside. Well, it's not gonna tell you to mark, you can't just say mark all those stitches off of that colour, because then it's not gonna mark that one off. And then you can make your box, you can make the box whatever shape you want, whatever size you want, but it's like, well, where do you draw the line? And that's what I found really hard, because like, at first of all, I had, just 10 by 20. Then I had 10 by 40, and then I had 10 by 50, and then I'm like, but there's still another couple of colours over here, so it's like, well, yeah, it works really well if you want to park all of it, but I really wanted to stitch out my thread, and it doesn't really work if you want to stitch out your thread. Well, I mean, it does. I mean, you can use it like Pattern Keeper and not have the automatic colour selection and not having the box, so just have a free form, screen. But I might as well just use Pattern Keeper then, if I'm not going to use the feature. I do like the fact that you can feather the edges, so you can make a feather in it. So if you were stitching by page, I think it would be really good for people who stitch by page, honestly, but I don't like stitching like that. And the other thing as well is, like, I didn't like, say I had a 10 by 40 box, which I ended up, I think, in the end having that. I was stitching over here rather than over here, and I really like stitching from left to right, and I don't like having stitching all over here when I've got all these stitches here. If it would let me stitch, pick symbols from left to right in a 10 by 10 block like I pick symbols, I would have loved it, I think. But yeah, jumping all over the shop also I found more difficult. I actually made quite a few mistakes, unbeknownst to me, obviously, until, you don't find them out straight away. But because I was stitching, all the way over here, so I was counting 2 or 3 blocks, I ended up stitching one colour in the wrong, and then, that's what, you stitch one colour wrong, and then you stitch the next colour off that wrong colour. And because it's so far away from my existing stitching, I didn't notice it until I'd stitched quite a bit. And then it's like, oh my goodness, it was this cascading effect of, oh, that colour's wrong, then that colour's wrong, then that colour's wrong. So that's probably a long story short, but I'm going back to Pattern Keeper. So I will have to, it's going to be annoying. Next time I pick it up, maybe today or something, I need to mark off in Pattern Keeper what I did in Saga. And it's not going to be easy because I didn't stitch from left to right, so I can't just, mark off that block, because it's bits in here and bits in here. And the other thing as well is, and I will show you just a, now I've never seen anyone else with their Pattern Keeper set up like this, but I mean, not many people show their Pattern Keeper anyway, but I have mine in dark mode and I have it without colour. Now, you might think that's a really weird thing to do, but I found, oh, where is it? Where's Catnap gone? I found it's a lot easier to find where I'm stitching, and I'll show you what I mean. So I look at what would you call it, shapes rather than colours. So I have mine set up like this. You don't know what you're stitching, and that's fine by me. But I have it set up so like I need to, let's choose, say that one. I have it set up and then I look for like these blocks stitched on my fabric. So, you know, I look for like this, like a sort of a Tetris, I guess. You know, I look for a bit that has, well, basically by shape. I stitch by shape. And that's how I like to stitch. And I think it's really, first of all, it's really easy to see where you're going, and it's also easy to see what you've done, I think. And you don't miss stitches because like there's a big contrast between what's been stitched and what I'm stitching, and then the black is not stitched. But then if you look at Saga, where are we? Saga doesn't, it highlights around the edge, not in the box. So I find it really a lot harder to know what I'm stitching. So that's Saga there. And so like I find it really difficult to see, you know, oh, 2 down, I'm stitching that box, but then missing that box and then stitching the next one above. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not as easy to see, and I think that's why I made so many errors. I need the boxes filled in rather than, you know, outlined, basically, I think is my main problem with it. I did really want to like it. But yeah, since I found the error, and I know why I found the error, because even after I'd found the error and I was stitching like that colour there that I just showed you, I was really like, I'm like, where am I stitching? Am I stitching next to it, or am I missing one and then stitching down? Or, you know, I was just, no. So, yeah, but if you are interested, feel free to give those channels a watch. I will link them below. Needlebug's also done a tutorial on on using it as well. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, well, I'll just stick with Pattern Keeper, I think. The Saga works on Android and Apple, but I was just using it on my Pattern Keeper tablet, because why not? I have a Pattern Keeper tablet. I don't use it for anything else, so I thought, well, might as well just put Saga on that. Alright, well, I have talked long enough. Thank you so much for watching, and all your comments and likes. Really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a good Stitchy week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.